It feels like forever since I've hang out online. Or been in one for that matter. Alright. Anyway, so let's go ahead and start with a recap of what happened last time. Since I think we all kind of need a review.
Corgi goblins.
Anyone? Whoa, that's... Are you giving me the finger?
No, I was counting down. Matt, you get to review.
I was looking for my notes. I took terrible notes. I have in my notes that before the battle, Mogor described executing everyone but Tormak and said that he was the 13th soul, and to leave me alive, not necessarily unharmed, but alive.
I do recall that.
Yes, I hope you do. And we had an epic battle. It's fantastic. With Mogor and all of his minions.
Then we turned in the head.
Yes, we severed the head.
This is not a tremendous summary.
No, it's not. I didn't take good notes during the battle.
But there was kind of a little bit more that got said before the battle, except for kill everything except that guy.
Well, I do remember that there were various descriptors given for each of us. I believe they called Manasael the World Heart. They called Tormak the 13th soul.
Yep.
And I don't recall. I know he talked to each of us in turn.
Yep.
I don't recall what he said to Cinder Bryn or Durlond.
But it wasn't. I could be wrong. I might be remembering this wrong, but it wasn't like an actual physical conversation, was it? Wasn't it kind of a...
It was a conversation with something in a pocket dimension by a possessed Mogor.
Yes, it started off as a regular conversation, and then it got weird.
To me, he said something about not even knowing what I really was, hinting at some kind of... I might have been created from something that I don't understand.
Yes. You were called the Lost Son.
It was all cryptic and whatnot, and it kind of made me want to stab him in the face. Which I'm pretty sure I eventually did.
No, actually you didn't.
Oh.
You were busy getting stabbed, too busy to go and stab Mogor yourself.
All I remember is that my last strike was epic.
That's funny. All I can remember is all the times I stabbed you in the ass.
Well,
you or Tormak? Because I remember a whole lot of Tormak trying to get up in my butt.
Whoa.
Well,
I don't know what session you were playing.
That's just the way Tormak is. You know that by now.
It's just what happened.
All new meaning to Helldiver, boy.
Many people have been impaled in the ass by Tormak.
That's why Belgay had to leave.
He did, because I think you shot him in the ass 3 times? At least twice. It might have been 3. I can't remember. So at this point, I think Delana is still a Tormak virgin, and so is Manasael.
For now.
Given the way Tormak rolls, that probably won't remain that way for long.
What did Mogor say to Bryn?
Bryn was called the Keeper in Darkness. And that, I believe I said that he is already fabled. I don't remember exactly the way I said it. He called you the Fire Mask, but he didn't talk to you very much. Yes, given the way that Tormac hangs around the back, eventually everybody's able to.
A ghost? A ghost.
Alright, so not exactly the most,
Does it tell you if you're right or wrong?
shall we say, coherent recounting of the past events, but it'll do.
It was a very close fight.
Yes, it was. I kicked 12 kinds of hell out of you.
Mostly because of lucky rolling.
To a ghost.
Frankly, even if I had rolled slightly less well, I still would have kicked the hell out of you.
You would have.
And might I remind you that the last time you started getting arrogant about the fights, this happened? I can make them worse.
No. I think we're right where we need to be.
I think you might want to shove something in Lloyd's mouth and keep him from speaking.
Yeah, come over.
Yes, the more Lloyd runs his mouth, the more in trouble the rest of you are going to be. I'd never heard that expression before. And for purposes of the online, I will not repeat it either. All right, so you guys are here. You guys have unlocked the doors that you had told houses the various remaining hostages. These were the more important hostages. All the more expendable prisoners got shoved downstairs, where Mogor and his cronies had full access to them. And not entirely surprisingly, you couldn't find them down there.
Well, I'm gonna go. I'm not even wasting a beat. So once the doors are opened, I'm calling for Layla, and I'm going door to door.
Which one are you going to go in first?
The one to the north, I guess.
North. Okay. Alright, so this looks like this was a couple of rooms that got converted into cells. And where are the doors? The doors are where the light ends, to the north and the east, yes. And unfortunately right now, Layla is not in this door. You do see a couple of people. I'll expert onto them. You see a dwarven woman, and you see a gnome, probably middle-aged man, to the north. Did I reveal those?
I'll go ahead and go to. I'll go to the. Are they tied up or are they?
No, they're not tied up. They're kept. Basically, they were just left to roam within the cells itself.
Okay. So I'll give a look. There's nothing going. I don't see any of them. I don't see who I'm looking for, so I'll go into the next area.
Okay. So going to the east, this looks like a much bigger area. Looks like this used to be a room for somebody of importance. And in here you can see several more people. This is probably where given the space, the majority of the hostages were kept. Layla is in here, along with a few other people. They introduce themselves and they look at you kind of warily, but kind of there's a hope in their eyes because you don't look like the typical Duragar lackey or the Amber Shard lackey. Especially considering that Layla immediately runs up and hugs Monosail so tightly that you can actually feel your ribs creaking.
That dwarf strength.
And given the beating you took last week, it's not a terribly pleasant experience.
I'll give a little bit of I'll kind of grit my teeth and give a little inhale of air and just let her do what she needs to.
She is totally crying into your chest. Well, more like your stomach. She's not that tall. And she's got a death grip around you, just thanking you and thanking the divine dragons and the All-Father and basically everybody she can think of that you are here. And the rest of the group kind of they look a bit more relieved at this because it's more obvious that you're here. You're here to protect them or to save them, or at least not do horrible things to them, for lack of a better way to put it.
When she runs up to Manasel, I put my hand toward a dagger and ask him, "Do you know this one?"
Yes, this is the one I'm looking for. This is Layla. And then I just kind of, I pat her on the head and just I let her do her thing. It's the worst that happens. I crack a rib.
So one of them who looks like it looks like he's either nominated himself or actually is kind of the leader of the group is a kind of middle-aged half-elf woman. She comes up closer to you guys and demands to know who you are and what you're doing here.
Well, feeling like I've been challenged, I look her square in the eye and I go, "My name is Manasel of the what's the name of my moot? I forgot the name of my moot.
Winter's Grasp.
Manasel of the Winter's Grasp moot. Who are you?"
She looks somewhat at the equally forceful tone, and she introduces herself as Amada Sarto, and she waits for a second, like you're supposed to recognize it. And when all of you actually know, Tormac, give me a cat burglar plus intelligence.
I'm sorry. Can you spell her name for me?
I will not spell it, but I will cut and paste it.
Okay, cool.
It'll be that.
22.
Tormac, you actually have heard of the Sarto family. They are a crime family. Think mafia. Not a big one, but they are a criminal family based out of Shadowport.
The dark elf? Or no, half elf.
Half elf, yes.
Has the the Trehorn family, I'm sorry, ever done business with them before?
Probably not significant business, no. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, all of you go ahead and roll your relationship dice. Because maybe Tormac can decide that they've done business before.
Probably
Not
not.
with that rolling or not. Those are some fantastically bad rolls, guys.
Oop, wrong roll.
Oh, you're the only one that got anything.
Somebody else
So
did.
Cinder has a 5 Archmage. Monocell has a 6 Dwarf King. And that's pretty much it.
What's the
So
age?
with that in mind, what's that?
What's her age?
Middle-aged. You can't tell for sure. She's probably in her maybe in her early 40s.
So she could possibly be the matriarch of this family.
It's unlikely. She could be, but it's unlikely.
While they're talking, I'm looking around at the other inmates and just kind of checking everybody out, making sure that nobody would possibly be a planted threat, something like that.
None of them seems particularly threatening. You think that if any of them were were a genuine agent of the Ember Shards or the Durgar, they probably would have been taken out when the infighting started happening.
Okay.
And so I continue to, after that small trade, not really paying attention to her. I kneel down and ask Layla if she's okay. Is she hurt?
She wipes away her tears, and she has a hard time kind of composing herself because, I mean, you know that she's kind of pampered and not suited for. She's not really suited even for a walk down to the market. Without people to kind of keep her on hand, keep her safe, and hold her hand. But after a few seconds, she kind of nods and says that they took okay care of them. It got worse after something happened outside, but they never found out what happened, and the food and the water and the guards didn't come out by as nearly as often after that.
Okay, well, I just reassure her we'll get her home soon, get her a nice warm meal, and everything will be fine.
That sounds pretty good to me too.
She nods. She nods and just she goes over to your eager teeth and just kind of wraps her arms around him and holds on.
She gets licks.
I'm slightly creeped out by that.
But yeah, Cinder, none of them seem in any way really threatening. None of them are armed. You suppose that they could have armed themselves with some of the furniture and stuff, but it would have been very haphazard at best.
Okay.
Other than Amada, is there anybody else of note in the prisoners other than Amada and Layla?
I couldn't hear you very well there, Randy.
She's asking, other than those two, is there anybody of note?
That's hard for you guys to say. None of them appear to be anybody of note, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they aren't. Are you going to go and ask around and ask who they are and see for yourself? Or are you just going to visually assess them? It's kind of a mix. Some of them seem more affluent, others not so much. But on the whole, they tend to lean towards the affluent over the not so much. Well, you don't have to say, are you important?
Well, I'll ask if is everyone okay? Is anybody here injured? We've dealt with the problem. You guys are safe. You're gonna go home now.
So they kind of look at around each other, and for the most part, they tell you that they don't have any severe injuries. There's bruises, there's scrapes and cuts, and some twisted or sprained ankles and wrists and that sort of thing. But none of them seem to be in dire straits.
I offer some of my rations if anybody needs to eat right now, like if they've been going without food, and some of my personal road rations.
They look at your road rations, and a couple of them take up on it, but for the most part, your road rations aren't really that appetizing.
No, they're not.
Prisoner.
We would be the equivalent to like possum jerky, I think.
So the prisoners were getting fed better than you eat. That's fantastic.
Oh, nature provides friend.
I walk over and pat
Provide some.
Monticello on the shoulder and be like, dude, I eat better than you eat.
Oh, because it has no seasonings and because it's what you consider edible, high food. It's just as good to eat. Rat's just as good as raccoon's just as good as venison. It's all the same.
I look at your rations and point to Cinder and say, if he eats that, it becomes weaponized.
We're not getting into that.
Well, yeah, you have to season the possum. It's just not palatable otherwise.
It has the tail on it still, just a stick, it's like a flat beef jerky with
That's like
an awesome tail.
That's a meaty gummy worm. Is basically what that is. And you think, and I'm sure that even if Monticello doesn't like it, then it's probably Earkeith's favorite part. So after a while of you guys kind of talking around and making sure everybody's okay, they start to ask, one at a time initially, and then kind of all together. It's like, so what's going on? Are you getting us out of here? Have we been freed?
I look at Monticello. I don't know. Do you want to free him?
Yes, they're free. No need to put them on any more edge than they already are. I'm sure they've already had quite an ordeal. You're free. You're free to go. You can come with us, or you can go on your own. It's up to you.
They're pretty much immediately think that no, we're not going our own. We're coming with you wherever you happen to be going.
I look around and kind of take in what I consider to be kind of a more pampered lot than I normally want to have traveling at my back, and grumble something about never having fought a single fight in their life, and walk away.
Okay, you do that.
I will be playing the part of the moody robot tonight. Apparently, interns either trying to tease our captors, friends, and telling them that they suck.
The nearest reasonable place of civilization is probably Forge. You're not terribly far from Forge at this point. You could probably be at Forge in a day and a half or 2 days.
Oh, man.
Yeah, you're not getting there in a few hours. Otherwise, I don't think even a stupid Durgar would set up camp within a day's travel of the capital of the Dwarven Kingdom.
I don't know. There's some pretty dumb Duragar.
Yeah, some of those dumb Durgar nearly killed you last fight, if you recall.
I'm not saying that they're not tough as crap. I'm just saying that they're stupid.
And if you'll recall, you were told to bring the daughter of the blacksmith, who was in that first cell. Her name is Vela, if you'll remember. You were told to bring her to Forge, and that the family had friends there. And Monticello, you also know that Layla is from Forge.
Sounds as though we're traveling to Forge.
Forge sounds like a really good idea to me.
Oh, Vela to be okay.
Yeah, after introductions have gone around, you know which one is a Vela. She doesn't know you unless you told her specifically that you'd come to rescue her?
I'm going to go over to Vela and or I'm going to beckon Vela over to us and lead her over to Bryn and kind of have a little conversation with her about her dad and how he helped, and that we were sent more or less to find her.
She looks. At first she looks surprised, and then she looks just relieved, and nods and says, yeah, I was on my way to Forge when they captured us. Bryn is currently in Indiana, on the way to Indianapolis for Gen Con.
Kato's tagging along too.
I told Kato he has to get me swag from Gen Con to make up for not being here. So that's where he's at right now. But yes, she said that she was on her way to Forge when they captured her. They killed all the other people in the caravan that was traveling, but they took her alive, and she didn't know why. She didn't question anything. But now she realized that she's been saved. That it has something to do with her dad.
So they killed everyone else on the party except for her.
Everybody in the caravan, yes.
That speaks of being targeted. Okay, well, I guess if we've got everybody collected and we've let everybody know that we're going to go to Forge, we should make moves.
Okay.
On the way out, I suggest to Bryn that he should really pay attention to who he rents this dump to.
He says he'll have a talk with his dad about it when they get to Forge.
I get Cinder's attention, and I ask if you think it would be best that we, since we have defensible positions here, if we should rest here, or if we should move out and go and find a campsite.
There was something that made a sound right before we went and got the prisoners. It probably knows where we are. Mind you, we're right in the middle of a frozen wasteland, so tracks kind of become an issue. Not
It's a
going to
winter.
be hard. Say again?
Well, it's winter. It's not necessarily a frozen wasteland.
Okay, well, snow and a party this large is not going to be easy to conceal. Do you know if the tunnels in this lead anywhere and exit anywhere other than where we came in? I'm sorry, I'm asking this to Bryn.
Bryn says that they shouldn't. That all the tunnels here should be self-contained.
Okay. I still want to go upstairs and check on the cultist that we left alive. Because, you know, we kind of forgot about him.
I was wondering if you guys had forgotten about him. I didn't, but you guys did.
So, bare minimum, I think that he might be a good person to ask questions of, like what that sound might have been. And if there are any particularly defensible places here, or if there are any weapons that might help us defend ourselves, magic potions, something like that, in a stockroom somewhere that we might have missed. So I say that that should be our next action step. is talking to him.
Well, it's sort of on the way out, so...
Yeah, so we just hit him up to see if there's any supply caches. We might need to get these people some warm clothes.
Delana has input. Ah.
Oh.
Alright, up we get then.
Alright. So you guys travel over to where you left the cultist from earlier. And when you get there, let's just put it this way, you're not asking him any questions.
He's inside at him.
The lights are on, but nobody's home. He's just sitting in the corner. It looks like he got his bindings loose somehow, but he's just sitting in a corner, completely limp, head rolled back, and just staring at nothing.
I take out an arrow and plunge it in his throat.
He doesn't even react to your callous murder hoboing.
Hobo murdering.
And you got pretty much right away.
As I turn and walk away, well, that was a waste. So, gents, shall we? Upstairs?
I nod.
I do not think it is... I do not think that it is a good idea to stay in these halls, because right now there is one person who knows these halls at all well in our group, and I don't like fighting on the enemy's home turf. If we're going to confront something, I want to do it out in the open on even footing.
Well, are we going to be able to scrounge enough warm gear for these people that we're dragging along, or did they have all of their winter stuff on them? Were they just thrown in from their travels into these cells?
It's not like they were in rags. I mean,
right.
They were in decent clothing. I mean, they're not necessarily dressed for a romp through the winter woods, but it's not like they're not clothed at all.
Can we strip off these Voidbringers and pass that clothing around? At least give them some extra protection?
Yeah. You guys left the giant behind a well.
I was going to say, we got quite a lot of dead folk sitting around here, so I mean, it's not the cleanest of clothes, but...
Smells a bit, but they're warm.
You know what the internal temperature of a tauntaun is?
They're a bit sticky, lukewarm.
Yes, it is.
So
well, get whatever we can, and then...
There's plenty of stuff to hand over. There's only 7 prisoners.
Yeah, just scavenge around the area, get people a little bit of extra protection because we're going out into the elements.
And for what days, you think?
And I guess we're heading out.
That's my vote.
Okay. We need to head out and find somewhere to set up camp.
You head upstairs through the hidden exits. You find a couple of the dwarven rune knights waiting for you, and they look at the train of civilians coming behind you, and they each give you a nod, and they pull Cinder aside and saying, "So, you found all of them?" This is everybody?
As far as I know, we got the 2 or 3 that I care about.
And who's that one over there? Was he one of the prisoners too? And he nods at Monticello.
No, he's more what you might call a old acquaintance of mine.
Oh. Is this alright. We need to get a move on. We need to get someplace safer than this to set up camp. The sun will be down in an hour. And I think, regardless of the risk, I think we probably need to get a fire going tonight.
I am all sorts of in agreement with you. Let's move it.
Okay. So you guys set up camp. Probably maybe a mile away, give or take. You set it in the in a depression in one of the hills. It gives you plenty of cover. There's some trees around which should keep the fire from being seen very easily. And you guys and the prisoners pretty much collapse pretty quickly. They're asleep in their scavenged and bloody cloaks and robes, and they fall asleep on some beds of pine needles and dead leaves. It's probably not comfortable, but they're clearly so tired and so exhausted that they don't really care. The room knights offer to take the first watch and let you guys get some rest. And then you guys can take the second and third watches.
And I instruct Eagerteeth to not leave Layla's side.
Eagerteeth looks at you like, I wasn't going to do that anyway. I like her better than I like you. Actually, you
Definitely sounds like a corgi.
You could be right, can't you?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, Eagerteeth basically tells you that. It's not implied; it's explicit now.
As he's walking away, I give him a swift kick in his ass, and with a smile on my face.
He nips at your leg and then goes back to laying down with Layla.
Tormac's watching this like, who in the hell are you talking to?
Eagerteeth.
Eagerteeth looks at Tormac and just bares his teeth. There's no growl, just a baring of teeth.
That's kind of his equivalent of he kind of mimics human behavior. He's smiling. Don't worry about it.
At least you think he's smiling. With eager teeth, sometimes it's hard to appreciate.
Smiling, snarling, whatever.
Same thing.
I collect people's weapons and any armor that might need some small repair, and set about to honing and just generally caring for people's equipment. Telling everybody that they need to get some rest. I'll sit the watch.
Dwarves are watching.
The dwarves need sleep too. I don't. One of the beautiful things about not having any, blood and stuff.
You don't have to, turn off and back on again?
Only when he's not working.
No, I got an upgrade.
We just turn off and turn on again twice a day.
So Manasail just gives us, she's got a nice little bed of pine needles all laid out and kind of stretches, and he's like, what always runs but never walks, often murmurs, never talks, has a bed but never sleeps, has a mouth but never eats, and then just lays down.
It's a river.
Once again, a bewildered look from Tormac.
All right, so everybody falls asleep at some point. Tormac, you have some odd dreams, and we will get to those later. In fact, most of you have some
I don't like it.
That's a funny thing, because Delana, when you wake up for your shift on watch, Cinder appears to be asleep.
I would become Superman, Mommy. This is massive.
And I can't hear you, because you're both muted.
I think she just held up a receipt. What was that?
What? Cinder's asleep?
Cinder's asleep.
I thought that wasn't supposed to happen. Apparently you need a hot fix.
As far as he told you, yeah, he's never slept before in his life, and yet he is unmistakably unconscious in some manner when you awake.
I'm just making sure Lloyd heard that. Please, Buffalo.
Isn't that place pretty much made out
Yeah, I'll still need something to drink.
of No, I
Yep. All right. So you take your watch. It goes pretty much uneventfully. There doesn't seem to be anything going around. No killer squirrels. No adverse weather. Nothing really worth mentioning at all.
Except for the whole Cinder thing.
It takes a little bit to wake Cinder up. Yes. You shake him. You kind of give him a quick kick a couple of times, hit him on the head, and probably takes a good couple 3 minutes worth straight of effort before he kind of is aware again. Yes, you get to hit him on the head.
She's probably gonna attack. Pow.
The pan is slightly dented, but only slightly.
You can still cook.
Cinder is also slightly dented, but only slightly. It'll buff out.
It'll buff out.
Both of them. Yes. When Cinder goes to rub his head vigorously, the dent will
Sparks fly.
disappear.
So I'm to understand
So-
that I'm banged up by my own friends.
Yes.
Welcome to the group.
It's your initiation.
And it didn't even happen
Friendly
with
fire.
me.
Uno momento.
Scroll up and chat load. Anyway, so a quick breakfast is made. It's very make do, because nobody, including you guys, has enough rations to really feed another 7 people comfortably. Even for a couple of days, that's just a bit too much, because you've more or less doubled the size of your group.
Yeah.
No grits.
I can hunt and forage with eager teeth.
That's true. I forgot about that. You want to do that?
Yes, I would like to.
Is that something you need to roll for? Or is that just automatic?
Well, I mean, it's up to you, honestly. We could roll background on it, or you can just assume, hey, you're a druid, you can recognize some wild edibles and catch a squirrel or two. It's up to you.
Give me a roll on this one. Because
All
it
right.
is the middle of winter, it's probably harder to find stuff.
All right, and so background roll is just one. I don't even know what my macro says. Hold on a second here. Let me just double check. It's been a while since I've done anything with this background. Let's check it. It's a number of dice, d20 plus modifier. Okay, so it looks good. And the modifier is the relevant background.
Yes.
Okay. Okie doke. So that and that.
That should be higher than that. Should be, because your level alone is.
Oh, I gotta add level
4.
to that. Okay, so then that's
Yeah,
the
level
wrong-
plus attribute. Level plus attribute plus modifier plus background.
Okay, so I definitely need to change this macro. So what is the so the background's +4, but what's the attribute?
Wisdom.
All right. There you go.
Are they still only 3 more?
Yeah, because it's wisdom is +3, +4 for the background, and then 1d20, right? Or do I add level or
Plus
half
your
one?
level. Plus your
Plus
level.
God damn it! Sorry.
Either way, it's 25. You've rolled
Okay, there
14
you go.
twice in a row. I think the universe is saying something.
Okay.
So 25. No, you managed to sniff out more than a few edible victuals. You find a couple of snow hares. You find some caches of nuts. You find some berries, some winter berries, which there are not very many of them, but they every little bit is something. And you basically extended. It's not enough for everybody, but you extended your supplies at least a little bit for today. So after eating, that probably takes a couple of hours to do that. And no, any squirrel, you would have known if there were squirrels around because you would have been fighting the squirrels. The
They failed
squirrels
to protect their nuts.
the squirrels would have fought and died to protect their stuff. You say that. You haven't seen the squirrels I've statted out. You thought the fight last week was hard. Don't fuck with the squirrels, man.
The squirrel recites the litany of rage.
The squirrel will end you.
I would like to do a detect squirrel background check.
Go ahead and make your roll then.
Don't do it.
Plus-
We don't want to attract their attention.
I was
Isn't there a
joking.
beat for this?
I have absolutely no desire to fuck with the squirrels.
All right, so I bring my goodies back, and the breakfast is a little bit better.
So probably in, I don't know, an hour after dawn. No, let's make it a couple hours after dawn. You guys get underway. So it's 2 days to forge, roughly speaking. Let's start with Brandy. Brandy? What kind of obstacle or danger do you find on the way to forge?
She's in the other room. Give us a sec. Brandy?
And yes, you've had a full rest.
Give us just a sec. She'll be here to explain. You're being beckoned to give us a obstacle on our way to Forge.
An obstacle or danger.
She's thinking. You can come over here and speak if you like. Just because I imagine for this it's faster than typing.
Yeah, well, I can speak, just have to yell. These prisoners have been incarcerated for we don't know how long. Some of them are weaker and sicker than we realized, and trudging through the snow, several of them have experienced, they're falling behind, they're falling alive, they're just not strong enough to continue.
Okay. With that in mind, Cinder, what do you do to overcome that problem?
You calling me?
At first, I'm rather callous to the problem because I'm kind of a big proponent of those who can't keep up get left behind. But I also recognize that we are being paid by a person who would want me to save as many lives as we can, and not helping these people would probably hurt my reemployment chances. I know that I can take a heavier load than a lot of them, so anybody that has any kind of luggage that they're carrying, any jewelry, anything, I offer to take it and keep it safe for a while we
Why are we
get back
carrying
to board.
luggage for them?
Whatever.
They have no luggage. They have no jewelry. They were prisoners.
Then
They were not staying.
Okay,
in
hold
mine.
on. Give me a second. Alright, fine.
You could dual wield dwarves, dude. You're big enough.
I look around for at the trees and everything, and start to find sticks that are ideal for walking sticks, for canes, for crutches. If some of them are starting to limp real bad, I offer a shoulder to kind of let them lean on so that like one or two of them can help along. I absolutely refuse to let anybody climb onto my back because I am more dignified than that, damn it.
It's too late, Bella's already there. And when you try to remove her, you get a much bigger dent.
I would not choose to remove Bella.
This is a wise choice.
Even as a metal man, I am still a man and still enjoy Bella on my back, pressing soft bits up against my skull.
It's more on your shoulders.
Either way.
Okay, that works. So now, Lloyd, you get to describe a problem or an obstacle.
Can I go into the second night?
I'd rather not go that far just yet. This is
Okay.
still day
It's something kind of unusual, but we come across a small clutch of bears that are foraging in the woods. Normally I'd have expected them to be hibernating at this point in the year, but for some reason we just happened to run across the one set of weirdos in the Ursine world. You know, big shock for us. And the we kind of decide that with the group the way it is right now, bears are probably not the first thing that we want to be tangling with. So we have these bears kind of right in the middle of our path, and they don't look like they're going to be moving for us anytime soon.
Okay. So, Matt, how is Tormac getting everybody past that?
So, following Cinder's lead, instead of trying to confront the bears and fight them away, I look around quickly for anything that could be fashioned into torches, or we probably have torches, don't we? Do we still have torches?
Yep.
Okay. So gather torches from those who have them, light them, and spread out across the path, waving them, trying to scare the bears off out into the forest. Making loud noises, yelling.
Make a roll on this, because, you know, you're kind of doing more or less the opposite of what every normal person would think they could do.
Trying to scare away a bear? Multiple bear?
Yes, make it a charisma check.
Multiple hungry winter bears.
Hungry winter bears.
Yeah, they might just decide to snack on Tormac. Let's see how bad your rolls.
Oh, I'm going to turn into bear shit.
Parts of you might.
What background?
Hellhole Infiltrator.
Called it.
Oh, they're terrified of me.
No, it's more that they get up and look at you and go, he's just too scrawny.
I taste bad.
In fact, Monasa, you actually kind of hear that coming from him. It's like, I'd bite him in half, but it's not more than a mouthful.
I get a hearty chuckle out of that and just say, thanks, guys.
And again, I look over my shoulder and yell, what?
They said that they said there was no need for any of that, and all you had to do was ask them to leave.
I look kind of bewildered for a minute and say, so you can talk to those things?
I can talk to all the animals of nature. I
So
can talk
why
to
did I
plants
run them
too,
off?
but they don't have much to say.
Should have mentioned that earlier.
They're very taciturn. All right,
I clap him on the back, and I'm like, you did see that I can sort of, become one of the masterpieces of nature, didn't you?
Don't remind me, it's terrifying.
I give a smile and just kind of walk away.
All right, so Matt, describe another obstacle problem.
So, as we travel, do we come across any water?
I don't know. You tell me.
Okay, so as we travel, we come to a narrow river, which is frozen over, and as the group attempts to cross, it starts to crack underneath us, and we have to attempt to get to the other side before falling in.
Didn't do it.
Yeah, it's the metal guy's fault.
Yeah, that remains to be seen. Okay, so Monasale, how are you getting everybody past?
Well, how many people were behind me, and how many people were behind Tormac when it started to crack?
You tell me.
I'm going to say 3.
Okay.
Including myself. Well, not including myself, so 4 including myself.
Does this include me?
No, you make it across.
Oh, thank God.
To the north, well, let's say north and south of where these cracks are, the river still looks okay, right?
Again, you tell me.
Oh, okay. Well, I instruct the group that instead of risking going across this cracked ice and risking getting submerged into the freezing water, that I take this splinter group and move a few 100 feet, 200 feet north, upriver, I guess, and cross at a place where the ice is a bit more stable.
Okay, that'll work. All right, last obstacle. Eddie, what is it?
Oh, sorry. Let's see. Sorry, I'm thinking.
Your kimono instead of that rope.
What? Let's see.
I don't know. I don't think this is a DK Justin.
I think it is the DM. I think it's the DK Justin.
It's just good.
As we as we link back up and we continue on our way, we notice some individuals kind of skulking around the edge of the forests. We're unsure whether they're just woodcutters or just foraging, or if they could be bandits. We don't know, but there's just a couple of individuals that we've caught sight of.
Okay. So, Brandy, what is Delana doing about this?
How far away are they?
They are. They're. We can see them, but it's not like they're not super close. I'd say they were a couple hundred feet away.
Are they traveling or are they stationary?
It's hard to tell. They look like they're moving. That's partially the reason that we saw them. But what exactly they're doing, we don't know. And let's just say about a football field length away.
And you said these were people, right?
They certainly look like humanoids.
Okay, because I'm sorry, I was distracted for a second and missed the important step of are these people or not. I alert the group and see if we can take a detour off the path to put a little distance and a little cover between us and them. And then keep on trucking.
Alright. Simple enough, but it works. Alright. So after the couple days of travel and these various hang-ups and problems, aside from that, everything seems to have gone rather well. None of the former captives are terribly happy or energetic or enthusiastic, but on the other hand, they do appear to be, in decent shape, all things being considered. And similarly, you guys are in decent shape. You could probably use a few days resting at a comfortable inn or in a comfortable bed, but or in Cinder's case, maybe checking in with a blacksmith and having some dents and scrapes and screeches hammered out. That too. But it's towards the end of the second day, you come over a hill, and in the distance, still a good ways away, you'll probably be there sometime midday the next day, you can see Forge. And Forge is basically a series of 3 mountains, all in kind of a triangular, it's kind of like the Triforce, for lack of a better way to put it. And the mountain in the lower right is the Bronze Peak, and that's where you're heading for. That's the open mountain. It's been almost completely hollowed out. It's the place where non-dwarves and non-gnomes can live. It's where the expats can live. And it's where the non-native merchants also do their work out of. There's a small town at the gate of the Bronze Peak, but that's mostly for transients, for people who are stopping by for a day and then leaving immediately. The other 2 are Silver Peak and Gold Peak. Silver Peak you can go into if you're not a dwarf, or haven't been there, or your family hasn't been there for 5 generations. But if you're not a dwarf, you cannot even go into Gold Peak without an escort. And even Silver Peak, the guards will stop and question you if you are not a dwarf and you are wandering around. But Bronze Peak is fully open, and that's where you guys can go and stay. You know that the person you were to deliver what's her name, Vela, to lives in the Bronze Peak, but Layla, Monosail's friend, she lives in Silver Peak. Bryn actually lives in Gold Peak, or his family lives in Gold Peak. But it'll take a couple days. Well, maybe not a couple days. It'll take some time to arrange for the rest of you to join him in Gold Peak when he goes to visit his family, which he recommends you do, because he says that it seems that you guys need to sit down and figure out what's going on or what to do next, in light of what you guys learned at Smedek Gonat.
Yes. And that's why I made sure you got the chicken soup, because I'll have chicken soup.
Okay, well, I assume we just we press on. We were expecting to get there midday.
Yep. So midday on the 3rd day, you finally arrive at the town outside Bronze Peak, excuse me. You pass through pretty quickly. The guards there and at the entrance to Bronze Peak don't look too closely. You do get some funny looks, but they don't stop you. And it's not even so much that you guys are getting dirty looks as it is, or strange looks, I should say, not dirty looks, as the former prisoners who are dressed in the increasingly ragged remains of cultist robes and cloaks. Yeah, it looks a bit strange, to say the least. But you are now in Bronze Peak. It is probably a couple of hours after midday. What would you like to do?
Well, I know what I'd like to do, but I need to know where to link up with everybody afterwards. So, what's the nearest inn that we can use as a meeting place?
There's inns all over the place. There's plenty of them around.
Ooh, I want to use
especially.
Get anything specific? I'm going to open up a tavern name generator I found, and I'm going to use that.
I've got tavern names ready to go. Just give me a second.
Oh, you do? Oh, okay.
15-20-minute conversation.
I'm down for the immoral goat. If we.
So just to catch me up, we actually made it to Forge, and we are currently in the only place in Forge that allows non-dwarves, correct?
And not exactly. Non-dwarves can go to other parts of Forge. They just can't live there without express permission and you'll get funny looks and being at some of the other places. Only Gold Peak can you not go there without an escort.
Okay.
We're not sure they'll allow you, though.
I was gonna say, do I have greater access because of who I am? Like, would I be recognized as a dwarven construct?
You'll be recognized as a dwarven construct. The problem is that there are other dwarven constructs you don't necessarily have. You can get into Silver Peak, but even Gold Peak, you could probably get in, but you'd have to explain while you're there.
Okay. Alright, I'd like to travel around kind of solo by myself for a little while. Checking into some of my old contacts here, see if anybody has heard anything new about my mount. Anybody has heard anything about what's going on with the Dwarf King, what's going on, even go and check the stables if I can.
Everybody kind of gives you an odd look. Mount. What are you talking about?
Nobody here knows what I'm talking about? Nobody remembers the project? Like, can I even...
Nobody has any idea.
I can't get in to see the original dragon handler that was supposed to be raising the dragon that I would fly?
As far as you remember, that is in Gold Peak.
Alright.
Are we discussing what we're doing? Is that what we're doing?
I branched off and was talking about what I was doing because Forge is kind of home base for me.
This is where my contacts are for my next assignment, right? Or for the assignment I'm currently on, is that correct? Or is that somewhere else?
I think that's somewhere else because I think that's Archmage.
Okay. So I'm just trolling around looking for fun.
Delana and I were hired by an agent of the Archmage, correct?
Yes.
Is there any reason to believe that we could get in contact with that group in Forge?
Surprisingly, yes. As you're kind of walking around asking questions, stopping into taverns and that sort of thing, you hear rumors that the Archmage has representatives in Forge as you speak.
Okay, give me a second.
You don't know if they're from. You don't know if they're from the same group, which was the Order of the Sightless Eye. I'm sorry, the Order of the shit. Can't remember. This is why I write shit down because I can't remember this.
Hold on, let me see if I have it in my Wayback Machine.
It's the Order of the Something Eye.
Sightless Eye is sounds right.
It might be. Or Unblinking Eye, it might be.
I don't have it in my notes that I can see. Should we just assume it's Unblinking Eye then?
Let me double check. I know I've got it written. Order of the Unblinking Eye, yes.
Okie dokie.
That's what it was. But yes, you don't know if it's from the Order of the Unblinking Eye, but the Archmage does have representatives in town right now.
I take this information to Delana.
Okay. Let's stop here. There's probably a better way to do this. Let's go ahead and stop the session for right now, and I'll tell you how we're going to continue going forward, at least for the short term.
I have a question before we finish.
What's that?
I have a question before we finish.
What's that?
During the introductions and the traveling over the course of a couple of days, Does Amada Sartos seem as though she knows me or my family?
She didn't show any familiarity, which means that she could either be hiding it or she genuinely has no idea. Is there anything else?
I'm set.
All right, then everybody say goodbye to our viewers.
Bye.
Goodbye, Internet.
Bye.